Okay, guys. We're going to work on lesson number 26, which is going to take a problem that doesn't have a decimal in it. So we have 904, and we're going to divide it by 32. Okay. So if we're looking at that, I would estimate first to 30, and I would make that 900. If I divide, I can cancel off the zeros. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and I add a 0. So answer is going to be about 30. If I go to the actual, so I have 904, and I'm going to divide that by 32. Okay. First thing that I'm going to do is look back at my estimate, and my estimate here is a 3. Okay. So on this 3, I'm going to try first 32 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 96, too big. So I'm going to try 32 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. I get 64. That works. Okay? So I'm going to put a 2 up above the 0. I know them looking. 32 times 2 is 64. I'm going to subtract. Gives me a 6 and a 2. Okay. If I look, 26 is smaller than 32. So my next step is going to be to bring down the 4. Look at the 3 and look at the 26. From here, I can think 3 multiples of 3 that are close to 26. 8 is close. It's 24. So I'm going to try 32 times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Good. That's less than 264. So I'm going to put up top your lead number 8. I'm going to say 8 times 32 is 256. And I'm going to subtract 14, take away 6, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Okay, I've got an 8 there. And then we want to put down what we got. So we've got a remainder of 8, but this is where it's going to change. Now you're going to add no more remainders. We're going to add a decimal. And when you add that decimal, you're going to add it up top. And you're going to put a 0. Bring it down. Look back to your originals, 64 and 96. We're going to have to use the 64. So that goes in 2 times. 2 times 32 is 64. That gives me a 6 and a 1. $16 is less than 32. We're going to add another 0. And now I have 160. If I think about that, a 3 and a 16, I'm going to say about 5 times. So now I got to try 32 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 1 is 16. Ooh, gives me exactly 160. So I'm going to put a 5 up here. And then I know 5 times 32 is 160. And I am done. Okay, so that's 1. So here's the new part for today. Adding a decimal and then adding zeros so that we no longer have a remainder. Let's do one more just so that we are good at practicing it. Let's take 456 and divide it by 16. Okay. I'm going to change the 16 to 20. And I'm going to change the 456. It's a low estimate, but to 400. 2 goes into 4 twice, add a 0. Okay, looking at our actual, 16 goes on the outside, and we're taking that 456 and dividing it up into 16 piles. I know that 16 can't go into 4, so that's a 0. 16 can go into 45. We're going to say about 2 times, so let's try it because of our estimate. So 16 times 2, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so that's 32. I'm going to just make sure. I'm going to try 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1, 48. Too big. Okay, so I'm going to put a 2 up here. 2 times 16 is 32. Going to subtract 3, 1. It's less. And now I'm going to bring down the 6. Think of the 16 as rounding it to 20. So if I have a 2, how many times can go in a 12? About 6 times. So I'm going to try 6. So 16 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, 7, 8, 9. 96. That's not very close. So I'm going to try 16 times 7. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 1 is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 112. Closer. Let's try 8. 48. 8 times 1 is 8. 9, 10, 11 is 128. That's pretty close. So I'm going to put an 8 up here. 128. Subtract. 16 take away 8 is 8. Now here's the new part of the lesson. Add a decimal. Add the decimal. Add a 0. Okay, and now we want to know how many times 60 goes into 80. 6 is too much, so I'm going to try 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Ooh, there we go. Good. So 5. 5 times 16 is 80. And we're left with nothing. Okay? Have a good evening.